Is there more to midlife than just getting through it? Absolutely. Welcome. I'm your host, Debbie Cunningham, jazz artist turned midlife mentor, and I'm here to say to you loud and clear, it's time for your Midlife Crescendo. Well, hey friends, welcome back. So glad you are joining us on this journey through midlife and beyond. A time I truly believe can be the best season of your life. One of the ways we can do that is by paying attention to our changing health. There are shifting hormones as we approach menopause, but there's also often more going on. Today we are talking about your thyroid health with Dr. Lori Kalie. I met Dr. Kalie in 2021 when I was desperately trying to figure out what was going on with my own health. My thyroid medicine wasn't working, my hair was falling out, I was gaining weight. We were still dealing with COVID too. The local functional medicine practitioner that I wanted to see had a 6-month wait list, and after much researching, I found Dr. Kalie online in a city I used to call home, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She has a food-based nutritional approach to thyroid health, and I think you will find it very helpful. And after all, isn't that why we are gathering here at Midlife Crescendo each week anyway? To find help and encouragement for this crazy midlife season of ours? I truly want to inspire and equip you and encourage you through your midlife journey. So please feel free to reach out to me with questions, comments, and topics you'd like me to find an expert to discuss. Otherwise, you're stuck with what I choose. I always love when this becomes more of a conversation. So go to midlifecrescendo.com to give your feedback or to take the anonymous survey and let me know your thoughts. You can also let me know there if you're interested in a book club, interested in travel opportunities that I want to curate for Midlife Crescendo listeners. But you have to let me know. So go to midlifecrescendo.com and fill out the survey. Okay, now on with the show. Well, hey, everybody. Today I have on the podcast Dr. Lori Kalie. Dr. Kalie is a functional medicine practitioner focusing her practice on thyroid health, particularly for busy women with conditions like hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, and Hashimoto's. With over 23 years of experience, she combines her background in microbiology and biochemistry with her expertise in functional medicine to uncover the root causes of thyroid conditions. As the creator of the Fast Track to Optimal Thyroid Health program, Dr. Kalie helps women transform their health, enabling them to feel youthful, energetic, and vibrant. Her approach focuses on personalized, holistic strategies that address the underlying factors contributing to thyroid dysfunction. Dr. Kalie holds a BS in microbiology with a minor in biochemistry from Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and Science, a DC degree from Life University. She is also a certified functional medicine practitioner and certified integrative health practitioner. When she's not helping patients optimize their thyroid health, Dr. Kalie enjoys working out, cooking nutritious meals, and traveling with her husband. Welcome, Dr. Kalie. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for asking me to be here. I'm really excited about this.
Of course. Well, you definitely have been in my health journey with my thyroid issues, so I've appreciated your expertise and everything you've brought to the table into my life. But the first question I always ask my guests is, can you tell us something about yourself that's actually not on your bio?
Sure. A fun fact about me is I recently got a vibration plate and I have been loving that. Are you familiar with
No,
vibration?
I am not.
Yes, it's a platform that you stand on and it actually produces vibration up into your body. And there are a lot of different health benefits of using vibration plates. And I put off getting one for a really long time, but I finally did. And I am really enjoying it. And it's something that I recommend to my clients quite a bit because you can get rid of pain. It moves your lymph system, so it's good for detox. It helps with weight loss. It helps with muscle building. There are just a lot of great benefits.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I'll have to look that up. I have never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, Dr. Kalie, I've invited you here today, of course, to talk about thyroid health. But specifically, I was wondering, as a doctor, what and a practitioner, what made you focus on thyroid health?
A long time ago, I was in my 30s, I started taking bioidentical hormones because I was having very painful periods. So I thought that would be the answer. And it was anything but the answer for me because I started gaining weight and experiencing fatigue, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So within 3 weeks, I gained 25 pounds. I knew it
Wow.
was the hormones, but I just didn't know what the problem could be, knowing that they worked for women, a lot of women, very well. So I stopped taking them and I couldn't lose weight. I just felt awful. And I started to go down a path of figuring this out. So I found functional medicine. It took me a while, but I realized that I have genetics that don't allow me to detox estrogen well, which was why I was getting the painful periods in the first place and putting more estrogen in my body that I couldn't get rid of. So
Wow.
that caused a whole lot of issues, including thyroid issues. So I went down the path of helping women with their thyroid conditions because I went through the same thing.
That's amazing, and it's funny how not really funny, but how some medicines, like some people can do well with bioidentical hormones, but other women don't, and it's just because of the way our body processes those different things in our system. Especially for you, estrogen is a natural thing our bodies create, and yet your body struggled to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Well, can you explain to the audience listening the difference between hypo and hyperthyroid and also Hashimoto's? Because there
Sure.
are some differences.
Yes, hypothyroidism occurs when your thyroid isn't making enough T4. T4 is inactive form of thyroid hormone. And then hyperthyroid occurs when you're getting too much thyroid hormone into cells. And then Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition. And in that case, your immune system is attacking your thyroid tissue and it
Mm.
destroys thyroid tissue over time. And your thyroid can't make as much thyroid hormone as you need. And that
Wow.
makes you hypothyroid. So, most women who are hypothyroid are so because they have Hashimoto's.
Interesting. But it is also one of the things, and we've talked about this, that it's one of the things that's actually underdiagnosed. Most women aren't diagnosed correctly with their blood levels will be the same. But what are some of the symptoms that they consistently have that indicate that they have a thyroid issue?
For hypothyroidism, it would be weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, gut issues like constipation and bloating, hair falling out. It really affects everything in your body. It makes most processes slow down in your body when you are hypothyroid.
Well, here's a question I have because a lot of the listeners of Midlife Crescendo are, in fact, in midlife or are perimenopause or menopausal. Those are very similar symptoms to menopause. A lot of things that we go through in menopause are affected as well. And is there a way to tell if it's thyroid as opposed to menopausal symptoms?
You can get your hormones checked, your sex hormones checked, and look at your thyroid hormones as well. And that's how you can distinguish. But they do commonly overlap. So it is very confusing for a lot of women to try and figure it out. And a lot of times, doctors in conventional medicine aren't very helpful. They will just say, you're getting older. This is what happens. Just eat less, exercise more, and they don't really look into it, and so women are left to then take things into their own hands and seek alternative therapies.
Right. And what are what are some of the lifestyle elements? Are there lifestyle elements that also contribute to the thyroid issues and thyroid disease?
Absolutely. Toxins in our water, toxins in our air, toxins in our food, The body products that we use are very detrimental to our thyroid hormones and our sex hormones. We are constantly being bombarded everywhere by toxins. So that does play a really big part.
And stress?
Stress for sure, for sure. Yes, yes. Your adrenal function can definitely influence thyroid hormones and sex hormones. So that is definitely an issue as well.
Well, I've heard you talk a lot about the importance of gut health in all of this process. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how it affects our health, especially our thyroid health?
Sure. As I was saying before, your thyroid makes mostly T4, which is inactive form of thyroid hormone. That has to be converted to the active form to T3. And that happens mostly in the gut and in the liver. So if your gut is compromised, if you have leaky gut, which is very common in the population overall, but you find it quite frequently in people who have Hashimoto's, you're not going to convert well to T3. So you're not going to have that active hormone getting into cells in the amounts that you would need it to be. So that can slow down your metabolism and energy levels and hair, you'll experience hair loss in that case. Yeah.
Well, a lot of women midlife are struggling with hair loss, fatigue, brain fog, and all of these symptoms. You have designed a different program functionally to help them. Can you talk a little bit about what that process looks like and how you are the things that you're addressing to help them with their thyroid health?
Sure. So what we'll do is we want to find the root cause of the thyroid issue, the Hashimoto's. So in order to do that, we will go through several steps. One of them is going through a health history, and then we will get testing done, like extensive blood work, and analyze that from a functional medicine perspective. We can utilize other testing as well. Hair tissue mineral analysis is another test that I will commonly use. And once we know the root cause for that individual, then we can begin to work on those things. So, very commonly, working on gut health, liver health, blood sugar issues, adrenal issues, lowering toxins in the body, things like that, finding hidden infections. And then we'll do follow up blood work down the road to make sure that things are improving.
Hmm. What are the common things that you recommend women do to start beginning the process of changing their health? Because I know she has a blog and you have lots of free resources on your website, but what are the things you recommend women start to pay attention to?
I would recommend getting rid of processed foods, getting rid of sugars in the diet. If you have Hashimoto's, getting rid of gluten and dairy, cleaning up your toxic environment, your body products, replacing them with non-toxic products, cleaning products, doing the same thing. Um, Looking into um, possible blood sugar issues, getting the right blood work done, and working with someone who can really analyze that and point you to your specific root causes.
I know a lot of women are on thyroid medication. Do you feel like that takes care of the problem?
I do not. It's it is a lot of times necessary. So if you're on it, I don't recommend going off of it.
Hmm.
But it's used as a band-aid because especially if you have Hashimoto's, that's not addressing the autoimmune component, which is the primary problem. And that's what has to be looked into and addressed. So it may be a necessary medication for a lot of people because once you go on it, over time, it makes it harder to actually get off of it, depending on the individual. Some people can, some people can't. But addressing the issue behind it. Thyroid is a symptom of something else going haywire in the body. So you have to look beyond that and figure out what that is.
That's a really good point that when we're having thyroid issues, that it's actually just a symptom of what else is going on in our body holistically. Is there anything else that you would like to share about Hashimoto's, thyroid disease, or things that would be helpful to women in regard to all of that?
Looking into heavy metals is something else that is really important. I can look at that through the hair tissue mineral analysis, but I think that's commonly overlooked. A lot of people, I would say just about every person I work with has some level of heavy metals, and that can interrupt thyroid function and a lot of other functions in the body. So I think that's something that is really important. And looking into hidden infections. A lot of people have hidden infections that they don't realize they have. Mold, if you've ever been exposed to mold in your house or a workplace, that could be the root cause of autoimmunity and thyroid issues. A lot of people come to me with thyroid issues, but the real issue is that they're either living in a house that has mold, working in an office that has mold, or have in the past. And no one has addressed that. And they go from doctor to doctor looking for answers. Lyme disease is another one. Uh,
Wow. And
Parasite.
are there oh, yes, parasites as well. I know that that's another issue that can affect our health.
Mhm.
And it's not just living or traveling to another country, because I know people who have said, "Oh, well, I've never been out of the country, so I don't think I've ever had a parasite." Is that the case?
That's what they tell us here in the United States, but that is not the case. There are parasites in our food, in our water, everywhere. Meat on produce, there are eggs on produce. So we're exposed to parasites all the time.
And
And
how do we fight that? I mean, just besides washing our produce, I mean, are there things that we need to be doing to keep us away from parasites?
filtering water is important. But when you go out to eat, it's really hard to control those things. And a lot of these
Right.
parasites are picked up in restaurants or food that we get from restaurants if it's takeout. So we can control it to a degree or minimize
Mhm.
our exposure, but I don't think that we can possibly, unless we're living in a bubble, not be
Mhm.
exposed to parasites.
Well, what are your patients, what are typically, what do you see when a woman comes to you? What is she complaining about? The women out there, what is it that they should be looking for to know that perhaps they do have a thyroid issue?
Weight gain is one of the first things that women tell me. I started to gain weight. I couldn't figure it out. My energy levels were tanking. I started to lose my hair. And typically, they'll go to their doctor who will only test TSH. And a lot of times, that will be in what the lab considers normal, their normal range. And the doctor will brush them off and say, there's nothing wrong with you. But they're not looking, so it's important to get a full thyroid panel and look at all of the thyroid hormones. And if your doctor won't do that, there are labs that you can go to get your own blood work done. In most states, you can do that. And that's what I would do. And working with a functional medicine doctor can obviously be helpful because they can look at things and use more narrow ranges, the optimal ranges, as opposed to just using the lab normal range, which aren't helpful typically.
Right. Now, you do work with women online, correct?
Yes, I do. Mhm.
So tell us a little bit more about your program and how women who might want to be interested in that, how they would get in contact with you.
Sure. I have a program, as we were talking about earlier, and we would go through the steps that we were discussing, going through the health history, blood work, hair tissue mineral analysis, working on making changes to the diet, and any other changes that we found that would be helpful for that individual. And I have a website, so that is my name, Dr. Lori Kalie. So you can find me there and contact me through my website. I'm on social media too. So Facebook, you can search Dr. Lori Kalie, Instagram, Dr. Kalie. So you can message me through any of those social media platforms.
Yes, and I'll put those links in the show notes for anyone who's interested in getting in touch with her or going to her website and looking to see her free resources. She has lots of free resources there for those of you that are struggling with thyroid disease or autoimmune disease. I did want to touch on that just for a second. You did mention autoimmune. How is that different from thyroid
It is
specifically?
autoimmune disease means that your body's attacking its own tissue. There are a lot of different autoimmune diseases, over 80 different autoimmune diseases.
Wow.
So your immune system can choose to attack whatever body tissue that it wants. They're just named for the different tissues that it's attacking. So Hashimoto's and Graves mean that it's attacking the thyroid. And if you have RA, it's attacking your joints, and MS attacking your brain and nervous system. So it's just named for the different tissues
I see.
after.
I see. But you believe and have experienced that we can reverse a lot of our thyroid dysfunction. Is that correct?
You can, if you have autoimmunity, like Hashimoto's, you can't necessarily reverse it or get rid of it, but it can go into remission. If you don't have an autoimmune condition and it is showing up as hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, yes, that can be fixed by addressing whatever underlying issue is going on.
Okay. All right, ladies. Well, there you have it. She is an amazing doctor. I have worked with Dr. Kalie in years prior, and when I had spent years not being able to lose weight, Dr. Kalie helped me move the needle and shift that. So if you're struggling with any kind of thyroid issues, definitely reach out and check out. And I'll put her links in the show notes so that you can find her online. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add today?
I don't believe so. I think we covered it all. Thank you
Okay.
so much, though. I really appreciate you asking me to be on this podcast. This is great for women, a great resource.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it so much. I hope you found this information helpful. I'm going to post Dr. Kalie's social media and website links in the show notes. She also mentioned to me after the interview that she has a free consultation for Midlife Crescendo listeners who'd like to see if her program is a good fit for them or if they just have questions. So be sure to reach out to her on her website and social media and tell her you heard her on Midlife Crescendo. Listen, your health journey through midlife is super important. Don't feel embarrassment over or minimize your symptoms. Talk to a health practitioner and get the support you need. It can make all the difference. As a reminder, in this new season where brain fog and forgetfulness can run rampant, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss an episode. And on Apple Podcasts, you need to click the check mark to follow the show up in the right-hand corner of the app as well. Coming up next week on the podcast, we have another inspiring female who happens to be 79 years old and still living in Crescendo. So ladies, your hopes and dreams are still possible. One step, one decision, and one decade at a time. Thanks for tuning in today, and remember, midlife is just a brand new season to find your passion and purpose for your grand finale. Talk next week.